Hi, my name is Aditya Chinni. I'm a lead instructor at certschool.com, where we prepare aspirants for the PMP certification exam. In this video, I would like to cover scope management knowledge area. Scope is one of the triple constraints along with the time and the cost. Many authors added other constraints like quality, risk, and customer satisfaction into these triple constraints. But for me, triple constraints are the three: the primary, a scope, time, and a cost. By managing these three triple constraints, you would be able to manage your project successfully. And I'm not saying that other constraints are not important, but like triple constraints are triple constraints: scope, time, and cost. Scope defines the work for our project. That means what is in and what is out of our responsibilities. In generic terms, we use requirements and scope as interchangeable words. But for me, those two are sequential. Customers might be asking many requirements, but like as a project manager, we will refine those requirements into a derived project scope document, and we stick to it. The scope that we agreed upon, and that's what we are going to stick, is known as the scope baseline. According to the PMI, scope baseline has three parts in it. We would be talking about the three projects in a minute. When we talk about the project scope, we just need to know three more terms also: product scope, scope creep, and gold plating. Product scope is characteristics of the product. Project can be delivering the whole product itself or subset of the product. So always project scope might be a subset of the product, or it might be delivering the whole product, but it can be many times it can be subset of the product. Uncontrolled scope changes are known as the scope creep. And literally we would say like when scope is more or added, then we call it as a scope creep, but not when scope is cut down. We will never call it as a scope creep. Providing out of scope items for the customers for free is known as the gold plating. Many times gold plating is not welcome by the customers, and also it might cause more problems for us to manage. So gold plating is not recommended by the PMI. In the scope knowledge area, we have 5 processes. Those are all: collecting requirements, define scope, creating WBS, which is known as work breakdown structure, and verify scope, and control scope. Collecting the requirements process helps project management or project managers or project team to define and document project requirements. Definitely, you would be talking as a project team or a project manager, you would be talking to the customers, identified stakeholders, to collect those requirements. There are many tools defined in this process to gather those requirements and document those requirements. There are three major outputs that we would produce: a requirement documentation, and a requirements traceability matrix, and requirements management plan are those three outputs that we get from this process. The next process is define scope, where we refine already collected requirements into a detailed project scope. Scope can be a bigger document for a larger projects. It can be a smaller document for a smaller projects, but it can grow big for a larger project, and it would be very hard to manage that larger scope statement as a whole. For that purpose, we have a third process in this knowledge area. The third process is create WBS. This helps project managers to break down the created WBS into the smaller and manageable components. The smaller and manageable components are known as work packages. These work packages, if we organize those work packages into a hierarchical structure, we will form a work breakdown structure. In short form, it is WBS. To prepare the WBS, the technique that we use is called decomposition. We are decomposing project scope into the smaller work packages. Scope baseline is a part of the outputs from this process. As I said, the scope baseline has three components in it: the scope statement, WBS, and WBS dictionary. Just like our regular English dictionary, which helps us to understand English terms, WBS dictionary helps us to understand WBS components, the work breakdown structure components. It can be the work packages or a level above the work packages. So WBS dictionary helps to understand WBS components. Remember that the bottommost components of the WBS is known as work packages. Underline the word the packages, which will be useful for us in the next time management process. Create activity list. All of these three processes are in the planning process group, and once the project is started, we need to manage project activities and day-to-day changes. That includes scope changes also. To control the scope changes, to manage the scope, we have a process called scope control, which is the fifth process in this knowledge area. And scope management activities also includes to control unnecessary changes. As a project manager, the first and foremost responsibility for you is the control unnecessary changes. And then the fourth process we skipped is scope verification. Scope verification is like formalizing the deliverables acceptance. It is normally done along with the clients or a project sponsors or other key members who can formally accept the project deliverables which we produce in the execution process. For each one of these five processes, I would suggest you to explore inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs. PMBOK Guide has published all those details in a table format. And also, for each process, they have published data flow diagrams. I would definitely suggest you guys to go through those data flow diagrams. Go on to the pmi.org and register yourself and pay the membership fee, and PMI would let you download the free PMBOK Guide. In the PMBOK Guide, go through those data flow diagrams and understand how these processes are interacting with the other processes. My PMP prep classes, I cover those in details. And for more details about my classes, please log on to my website www.satschool.com or call my toll-free number 888-369-1221. Thank you for listening, and as I say, happy learning. Thank you.